Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sisters of the Strange. I'm Shae.
I'm Landrey.
And we're back again in the same clothes a week later.
Yeah, we just don't shower.
Yeah. We've been just like this for a whole week.
We've just been sitting here, rotting.
We don't move.
Nope.
No, we're trying to get ahead. We're trying to be better.
Yeah, we need to get ahead, especially during the summer when things are slower. With some breakage, we got this.
Everything's going to be great.
We got it. But, okay. We did an Encounters episode actually a couple weeks ago, late April, and people actually responded pretty well to it. I wasn't sure if people were going to like it or not, and it was just me reading other people's ghost stories, and I wasn't sure if people were going to like it, but it's literally like our top 4 ranked episodes.
Yeah.
So
we're going to roll with it.
Yeah, I figured this week I'm going to do a Encounters episode as well, but it's from police officers.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this a lot.
Another theme that I found that I will totally cover. I want to get it more organized and piled better. I found a whole entire series of park rangers stories, but it's not even just their stories. It's like their incident report, the time of it, where it's at.
Like it's recorded.
Yeah. And like the report of the people.
Ooh. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so I want to dig deeper into that, but I want to organize it better and kind of maybe...
I could do like a first responders episode.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. I'm down for that.
Ooh. Like only in the hospital or like
no, like
ambulance?
first responders. Yeah, like paramedics and EMTs.
Yeah. Yeah. I've saw that someone did a hospital episode talking about like the healthcare, like they labeled it healthcare stories.
Uh-huh. I could make a whole episode just on my stories.
Yeah. That's Macy worked at a nursing home and she said there was one specific room that like any person that went in there, it was like the last room that like they basically died and they like ended up stopped putting people in that room because people always died in that room.
Wonderful.
And there was one room that it might be the same room, but people always complained about little kids being in there and bothering them.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Did you ever have to work in a nursing home ever?
No, I did clinicals at a nursing home, but never worked in one. So I never spent more than like 8 hours in one, and it was always during the day.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything for as far as that goes. My hospital has some lore, but if we're going to do an episode, I'm going to save that shit.
Yeah, save it, because that'll be fun.
Because I actually have a pretty creepy story.
Uh-oh. Ooh. You got to think, that's got to be a scary-ass place to be. A hospital is just the vibe automatically. I think the vibe, like when you're in the ER, is different from like the rest of the hospital. Just like the energy of it.
It is.
But because I've been in both, I clearly do not work there. But just the vibe when you're going to like visit someone in the hospital is so... One, they're in the hospital and you're going to visit them, but just the whole entire vibes to me, I hate the way they feel.
Mm-hmm. The feels, the smells.
Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, that'll be a good one. Glad we had this conversation.
Glad we got there.
Yeah.
So yeah, this week's episode, I am doing Encounters from police officers. So pretty much just a bunch of spooky shit that police officers come across.
Hell yeah.
It's just going to be me reading. So if you don't like those kind of episodes, see you next week.
Too bad. Don't be fake.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
You're here for us. I've even broken it down to where I can maybe read it better.
We're going to get through it.
My problem with reading is my brain goes way faster than my mouth. So then I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And as Jeannie would say, monotone. But she said last time I did better.
Yay!
Okay, we're back for our very first story. So, night shifts out in rural, automatically, a word I can't say. Automatically. Rural.
Sorry, that was a cackle.
Rural.
I also hate that word.
Yep. So, night shifts out in the middle of nowhere, Illinois. That's what I should say. Are usually peaceful, the kind of quiet that makes you appreciate the stillness, even if it gets boring. My partner and I had just settled in with some coffee when dispatch crackled in, saying there was a suspected break-in, of all places, at the local morgue. Strange target, but we figured maybe just some junkies were out looking for the chemicals that had once been stored there. We arrived to find the custodian waiting outside, visibly shaken. He clutched his mop like a lifeline. Said he saw someone dash across the hallway while he was cleaning. The lights were off at the time, so he couldn't make out any details, just a figure moving fast. He didn't want to take any chances of being alone and unarmed, so he called us in. We figured it was probably just some teenagers pulling a prank, or maybe the guy had seen some shadows and let his imagination run wild. Still, protocol's protocol, so we went to check it out. We entered the building cautiously, calling for anyone inside to make themselves known. Nothing answered but our own echoes. The air had that sterilized, too clean smell, but something about it felt off, cold. The custodian walked with us as we swept the place. Hallway after hallway, we cleared side rooms, labs, storage closets, administrative offices, and more. Lights came on one by one as we moved through, chasing away the shadows. I was checking an old waiting room when I heard my partner's voice ring out, "Hey, stop, turn around." I spun back into the hallway, hand on my gun. "She went around the corner," he said, motioning to left turn at the end. "That was a dead end, no way out from there," the custodian added. We moved down the corridor carefully, calling out that we were the police and she wouldn't be hurt if she just came out. I was the first to reach the corner. I peeked around and saw her, barely. The lighting in that wing was out, but I could make out a tall figure, long blonde hair, and she looked still. I stepped forward, ready to talk her down, but before I could get a word out, she threw open a heavy gray door and slipped inside, slamming it shut. I ran to it, tried the handle. Locked. I banged on it, shouting for her to just open up. Nothing. My partner and the custodian caught up, and I filled them in. The custodian frowned. "That door doesn't lock from the inside," he said, already pulling out a key. When the door opened, we entered slowly, weapons drawn. Flashlights cut through the dark. The room was colder than it should have been, even for a morgue. The light beam danced over the stainless steel counters, medical equipment, and 2 gurneys in the center of the room. One was empty. The other one had a sheet over it. You could see the shape underneath. It crossed my mind that it might be a clever hiding spot if this room were in regular use, but the custodian said that no one had been in there for days. We approached slowly. The smell hit us first. Not sweat, not fear, just death. Pure, unfiltered decay. That unmistakable rot that sinks into your stomach even through a mask. We pulled the sheet back, and there she was. The same woman, same hair, a toe tag dangling from her foot. Time of death, 4 days ago.
Nope.
I stared at her face, my mind fighting itself. I just chased this woman through the building. I'd seen her standing just minutes later. Really?
Yeah.
I'd seen her standing just minutes earlier. My partner looked at me, pale. No words were exchanged. None were needed. We holstered our weapons and backed out of that room in silence. Neither of us ever put that incident in a report because who would believe it? Some things out there just don't need to be explained. And I've learned to not go looking for answers in places meant for the dead.
I want answers. We want answers.
We want answers. Yeah.
Ew, yeah, that was spooky.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I would shit my pants.
Probably.
Had I seen the woman in the hallway, like vividly, and then saw her dead under a sheet. No.
Yeah.
But also, how do you explain that? What would you tell people?
He
Nobody
didn't.
would,
He said, "I'm not doing that."
Nobody would believe you.
Yeah, and then you hurt your validity and you're a cop and it's a whole thing. We've been through that.
Yeah.
I just imagine but how he said still, I'm like, nah, I imagine this girl floating down a hallway basically with her hair really flowing behind her, running, You know
what I thought of? That freaking thing from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Return the slab.
Nope. Don't know what you're talking about. What?
Oh my God.
Have you seen the TikTok trend that's all about Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Yes.
And it's Courage doesn't ask questions. And
yeah.
And they come back with a lamp or a vacuum or whatever.
Hold on, I'm going to show you. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Return the slab.
What?
Return the slab, or suffer my curse.
What's your offer?
This night you will be visited by 3 plagues, each worse than the last. Return the slab.
Ha! Nice try, Professor.
Oh. Yeah.
That's what reminded me of.
Nope. It kind of makes me think of is it Asylum? It's one of the intros to the American Horror Story. It's one of the season intros where they're running around an old abandoned hospital and they're just having sex all over the place. Kind of makes me think of that. Don't know why.
Those shows, man.
Don't know why.
Unhinged.
Yeah, love them.
Love
Until
'em.
they got too weird. And
They
then I
got
stopped.
weird.
but- Okay. Our next story. So back in the early 90s, I was one of just a handful of officers covering a rural town in Nebraska. You get used to knowing the backstories of every building in your small town, especially the ones that are falling apart, which is fair. Any haunted building that's in any vicinity, you're like, I know everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the town had been drying up ever since the last of the manufacturing plants packed up and left. Families followed, so homes were left behind, decrepit and empty. There was one house in particular, a place the department flagged for regular checks. Copper thieves had hit it more than once.
Oh, copper thieves. I was like, what?
Like people who like they'll go
Steal
into
copper.
the houses and go take like all the piping and all of that.
I was thinking like, copper. Hey, you copper.
Oh.
No, I don't know.
Yep.
That's what I was like, what?
What is
It's a copper
that?
thing. Got it.
Yeah.
The neurons connected.
They've actually like a lot of places have stopped developing with copper like if they can because of that exact reason.
Yeah.
So anyways, it sat on a corner with boarded windows and white paint peeling. I drove past it like I always did on my first sweep around 7 p.m. Nothing unusual. The place looked dead as ever, and I didn't even slow down. Around 9 p.m., I came back through, same route, same rhythm. Only this time, the back door was wide open. That made me stop. I pulled up to the curb, watching the house. No movement, no flicker of light, but something didn't sit right. I stepped out of the car, boots crunching on the untouched snow. There were no footprints. Not in the snow, not leading up to the door, not leaving from the door. It was just open. I called it in, let dispatch know I was checking it out, and asked if the county sheriff could swing by. I wasn't nervous exactly, but something felt off. I approached slowly, flashlight cutting through the dark. The wind had calmed, and the air had that sharp, still weight it gets right before a storm. I leaned into the doorway and scanned the inside. The place was gutted, plaster ripped down, walls open to the beams. Piles of junk, insulation, and debris covered the floor. I didn't see any tracks in the dust either. I started thinking maybe the wind had blown the door open, but then I heard it, a loud thump upstairs. Then, children laughing. I froze. It wasn't a loud, echoing laugh, it was muffled. I called out, asking if anyone was up there. Nothing. Just more faint giggling, like kids playing a game. I radioed back, told dispatch I probably had some kids fooling around in the place. I stepped inside, moving slow, checking corners as I went. The kitchen floor was half rotted and soft under my boots, so I took my time. The living room was gutted too, nothing but the frame of a couch and broken glass from a busted ceiling fixture. The laughter came again, lighter this time, more playful. I started up the stairs. They creaked under my weight, but the moment my foot hit the second one, the sound from upstairs stopped completely. No running, no whispering, just dead silence. I reached the top landing and turned toward a bedroom to the left. A soft thud came from behind that door. I raised my light and edged it open. The room was empty, nothing but a mess of splintered furniture and moldy insulation, except for one thing. On top of a pile of debris, there was a single piece of paper. I stepped over and picked it up. It was a torn page from a children's picture book. The colors were bright. The illustration was of a smiling police officer drawn in crayon over the print, like a kid had gotten bored and decided to make it their own. That's when the hair on the back of my neck stood up. Before I could process it, I heard the laughter again, this time right behind me. I spun around, hand on my gun, heart hammering. Nothing. Just empty air, empty hallway, empty house. I didn't waste another second. I walked, calmly but fast, out the front door. Called back to dispatch, told them it was a false alarm, probably wind and animals, nothing worth investigating further. I never went back to that house, not once, and no one has ever asked me to either.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's very unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it does just sound like kids being like, hee hee ha ha, but hell no. Children laughter is like one of the scariest things to me.
Mm-mm. And like, why would somebody make that up?
No.
You know, like the picture of the, I don't know.
I can't think of who it is, but I can think of them telling me that their kid laughs in the middle of the night when they're walking to their room and it scares the hell out of them. But I feel like it's like a dad and their like daughter or their son. It's like I can't think of who it is though. I'm trying to think of our friends who have kids. It just doesn't, I can't think of who it is. Oh, it's Christian. And he said that Parker laughs on the way to like his room, or he'll just stand by his bed and just giggle at night. And he's like, bro, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing?
Why? What's so funny?
Yeah. Mom said that I used to just go stand beside her. Like I would stand beside the bed and she would, but I don't know if you've never woken up Jeannie, but it's just, it's scary when you wake her up. But I would just like be trying to wake her up and she'd wake up like that. And I'd be like, never mind. Or Mantha said when she was little, she would just like sleepwalk and like play with her toys in the middle of the night, but she would like be asleep. And her mom would just like find her like playing with her Barbies like under her bed.
That's
like
so
laying
freaky.
like halfway under her bed. Yeah.
That is so freaky. If my child was doing that, backhand immediately. Go to bed.
Go to bed.
Get your ass in that bed.
There's
Ain't
now
nothing funny.
There's a lock on the exterior of the room. You're locked in. I can't handle it.
Oh my God. No.
Children laughing is just horrifying. Something about it. I don't know where the stigma came from it either. It's
Yeah.
always been scary.
I don't know, man.
It almost started like Ring Around the Rosies, I think. Like just hearing that like and like
Ring
children
around
singing,
the
that's terrifying as well.
Yeah.
I hope I never hear it.
Mm.
Actually, I can't say that because I do want to have
Mm.
children one day, but you know what I mean.
Nope.
That'll do it.
That'll do it for me. I'm good.
I'm good. Okay, so the next one. I've been on the force for over 15 years. Seen a lot of strange things, but most of it you can chalk up to people making bad decisions, the chaos of weather, or just the unpredictability of life. There's only one call from my whole career that I still can't explain. I don't talk about it much, not because I'm scared someone won't believe me, but because I still just don't believe it myself.
I already believe him. Immediately.
I'm on your side.
Yeah.
It was a bitter night in November, out in the countryside near one of the glacial lakes tucked in the woods of New Hampshire. Hampshire?
Hampshire. It doesn't matter really.
Okay.
New Hampshire.
Yeah. Maybe I'm that's old money. That's what I am.
Yeah, there you go.
So no streetlights out there, just forests, frozen ground, and long stretches of dark road. The call came in just after 9 o'clock. Someone had reported seeing a young girl wandering near the waterline of Lake Marston. No more than 7 or 8 years old, they said. No shoes, no coat, just out there. Every officer in the area responded. My partner and I were the first on the scene. We both had kids at home, so it hit us just a little bit harder. You hear a report like that, and you don't wait around. The roads were already slick, and the sky was low and heavy with snow. When we arrived, we pulled off onto a trail that led down to the beach. I reported to dispatch, and we started on foot. There weren't many homes around the part of the lake, maybe 3 or 4 cabins, but they were all dark, and there was no one else in sight. We made our way through the underbrush, flashlights sweeping over the bare trees and frost-covered weeds. Everything was silent except for the wind licking at the water and the sound of our boots crunching on frozen ground. We came to a small clearing on the beach. My partner and I spread out, checking behind logs, brush, and any place a scared child might hide. It just didn't feel right, not because of the cold or the strange quiet. There was just something wrong with the silence. It didn't feel empty. It felt like something was watching us just outside of the reach of our flashlights. Very unsettling feeling.
Mm-hmm.
We were wrapping up when I felt my partner tap my shoulder. I turned and he was pointing at the water. That's when I saw her. A little girl standing ankle deep in the lake, wearing a thin white nightgown, the kind I hadn't seen a kid wear since I was young myself. Every hair on my neck stood up like I was hit with static. She wasn't shivering, wasn't moving much at all. She was just standing there and staring. My partner and I looked at each other, and I could tell we were both thinking the same thing. No child should survive long out here like that. And where had she come from? There were no tracks, no sound, nothing leading us to her. I radioed in, "We've got the girl, she's at the waterline, stand by." We started moving toward her. I crouched low at the edge of the water, not wanting to startle her. "I am a policeman, sweetheart," I said gently, holding my arms out. "It's cold out here, come on, let's get you somewhere safe." She looked at me, eyes empty, glassy, but she started to walk forward, slowly. That's when another patrol car pulled up behind us. 2 more officers came onto the beach and saw her walking toward me. And then she was just gone. One moment she was there, close enough I could have touched her, and the next, nothing. No splash, no scream, just air. All that remained were a series of small wet footprints in the mud right in front of me. 4 grown officers, myself included, saw it happen. We swept the area for hours, even called in search and rescue. Nothing. No sign of her. No missing child reports. No sign of someone staging a hoax. Just a little girl who wasn't there anymore. 2 years later, I heard from one of the rookies that another call came in that same stretch of lake. Same description, same nightgown, same vanishing act. They call her the lake girl now. People say she's a ghost. I don't know what I believe. All I know is that I saw her.
That gave me chills.
It reminds me of The Haunting of Bly Manor, the lady in the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And she walks out of the lake every night down the hallways into the house and goes and stands at the end of the bed and is like looking for her, I think her kid that had drowned.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's looking for her kid in the bed. And when she doesn't see her kid in the bed, she just like walks right back out.
What the hell?
But she goes and stands at the end of the bed and her hair's all like, she looks like the Grudge. It's really creepy.
Ugh.
I know. I envisioned that at the end of my bed for so long after watching that show. I almost started Haunting of Hill House the other night and I was like, I can't handle it.
Mm-mm.
I know I can't handle it. Like, it genuinely, that show creeps me out so
I
bad.
started it. I remember because I started it at work. It was during COVID, like before it got really bad in the hospital. And so like during that time when everybody was staying in their homes, there was nobody in the hospital. Like we were dead.
Yeah.
Dead. But we didn't have enough staff to like, in case something were to happen, like, you know, we all, you know, had to stay for the night or whatever. And there'd be like 20, 30 patients in an apartment, which is like basically zero.
Yeah.
So I was in an area one night and I was like, I'm going to start this show because it was like really popular at that time. I was like, I'm going to start this. So I started watching it on my phone, but I kept getting interrupted and stuff. So like I never like went back to it. I think I watched like the first 2 episodes, but I couldn't tell you what happened in it. I need to go back and watch it.
I don't think
I've been saying that for years.
I just don't know if I can handle it. Because like whenever I think of something scary happening in my home, I think of the scary movies I've watched. Like I don't think of just like a ghost like knocking on the door or whatever. Like I think of like one of the creepy figures and I just envision them standing at my doorway and I'm like, yeah, so I can't handle watching them. But I literally tried to start it like 3 nights ago. And I started watching it and I was like, the very first thing that happens is the bent neck lady. And I was like,
I'm out.
yeah. And it actually has a really good plot. Like all of them have a great plot, but they are so scary.
Yeah. That's why I need to watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, the lady in the lake, she stayed with me for a while. So that story just reminds me of.
That's so freaky. I couldn't even imagine like trying to explain myself to anybody.
Well, it's crazy because 4 grown men saw it. Like 4 of them saw it, which is where it's like, dang.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And like all of these are police officer stories, which is so like validating. And that's the other part of it. That's like, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Because it's someone you just trust.
Because they're like grown, like hardened men most of the time, you know, that have been on the force for 15, 20 years type people that have seen a bunch of stuff. And they're like, there's this one thing. Just can't, I don't know. And you're like, because they be seeing a lot of shit.
Yeah. You're like, you saw a ghost, my guy.
Hate to break it to you. I'm going to hold your hand when I say this.
That was a ghost.
Ghosts are real.
Yeah. Okay, you ready?
Ready. Ready, Freddy, Eddie.
Okay, maybe I'm not ready. 1 second. Okay. So, next story. I didn't even want to take the call. It was late, close to 2 a.m., and I was 2 hours from clocking out. I was just cruising the back roads of a nowhere town in southern Texas.
Hey!
My kind of life, my guy. He's like, you know what? I just want to drive.
Amen. Ain't nothing else to do.
Yeah, there's not. You know what we did for fun in high school? We drove around. Literally drove around the lake and listened to music. So, which is so nostalgic. When I drive around the lake and listen to music now, I'm like,
that certain playlist.
Yeah.
That SoundCloud
living
playlist.
My life.
Woo!
Man, if you get me drunk enough, that SoundCloud playlist is coming out. Yeah. So this town is the kind of place with no streetlights and barely any radio signal. Just gravel roads, old oil derricks, and houses so far apart you could fire a shotgun off your porch and no one would even notice. Dispatch came through scratchy. Elderly male reports a trespasser on his property, possibly armed. I asked for the address. It was out near the old refinery line. I'd been there once before. An old man named Carver lived out there by himself. I sighed and told dispatch I'd take it. When I arrived, the old man was already waiting on the porch in his robe and boots. He looked pale and nervous and kept wringing his hands like he was working up the nerve to say something. Saw a man out there, by the shed, he said. Big, black, just watching me. I asked for details. How tall? Was he armed? Was he saying anything? Carver shook his head. He didn't talk, just stood there. Looked like he was naked, but I couldn't be sure. God help me. I don't think he was human. I kept my expression neutral, but I figured I was dealing with a case of nerves and maybe early onset dementia. Out here, isolated.
Leave old Carver alone.
Out here, isolated folks sometimes see things, but still, I had to take it seriously. I told Carver to stay inside and went back alone. The backyard was overgrown with dead brush and thorny plants that clawed at my uniform as I pushed through. The smell hit me first, sharp and metallic, like burnt wiring or hot aluminum. I coughed and kept going. With oil fields nearby, strange smells were nothing new, which is so
true.
Yes, driving in, like if you're driving to Lubbock and you go through Post, it's immediately just like
stank.
And you're like, We're here. So my light scanned the darkness, casting long shadows that twitched with every movement. I started to feel on edge, the kind of alert you get when you know someone's watching but you can't see. Then I saw it. At the far end of the yard, near the shed, stood a figure. Huge. Human-shaped, no clothes. Just black? Not black like a shadow, but black like a hole in space. Its head turned slightly, just enough to catch the red glow of two enormous eyes. That's when my brain started to misfire. My first thought, suit, mask, then burn victim? Some kind of mental break? Nothing fit. The way it just stood there motionless, like it knew I was there long before I knew it was there. Police, I called out, firm but calm. Don't move, turn around slowly, hands where I can see them. No response. I stepped closer, my hand still on my gun. That's when the thing turned. The eyes locked on me, nothing behind them. No anger, no fear, no person. Then, like it had made up its mind, it turned again and walked straight into the shed wall. I mean through it, like the boards weren't there. One moment, it was in front of the structure. The next, its shoulder passed right through the planks like fog. There was this sharp crack in the air, like a power surge or a bug zapper, and that burning metal smell got so strong it made my eyes water. It didn't stop at the shed. It walked on through the center block wall, marking the edge of the property. Then, it was gone. I don't remember walking back. Carver was still on the front porch, pacing. When he saw me, he looked relieved. Thought something happened to you. He said, you were gone near half an hour. That stopped me. I looked at my watch, 5 minutes, 10 max. You sure? I asked. He nodded. I went inside and made a pot of coffee. You didn't come back. I figured maybe the guy took you out there.
Oh!
I told him the figure had run off before I could catch him. Didn't want to scare the old guy more than he already was. We went back around to the shed. There was no footprints, no broken boards, nothing. But the smell was still there. Hot, chemical, and wrong.
Ugh.
Carver thanked me, said he'd feel better knowing that I had come out. I nodded, got in my cruiser, and left, but I didn't go home. I drove until daylight broke, parked at the diner, sat there shaking with a cup of coffee and the sunrise. That week, I got sick. Face and hands peeled like I'd been sunburned. Doctor said radiation burn. Weeks later, I came across an article about the Mothman in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Glowing red eyes, lost time, radiation symptoms. My stomach turned. I haven't seen that thing again. No one has. But I know what I saw that night wasn't human, wasn't anything from here. And if it ever was a man, then God help whatever he's become now.
Ew.
I don't think I've ever really paid attention to Mothman stories.
Really?
No.
Mothman's got a lot of lore.
I always thought I know, but I always thought he was like more like silly, mischievous looking thing, not like serious like that.
Well, I've never heard him like described as that. Like I would have never thought Mothman. But I guess like it does have big red eyes.
Yeah.
But like it also has like wings like a moth. It's
That's
like the
pictures I've seen.
It's like the mascot of West Virginia.
Yeah, I've seen pictures, like the concept of who he is. But I've never paid attention to any stories.
Yeah, there's a lot of lore behind that.
I didn't know the whole radiation thing or any of that.
I think I've heard the radiation thing before, but that's crazy.
I guess I need to do a Mothman episode.
Yeah.
Learn myself.
Let's learn about Mothman.
I think I need
to.
I like
that.
Because I haven't.
I'd be down.
I have a picture of Mothman, but it's like Moth Woman Man. I don't know, Moth Woman. And it's her back and her head's turned kind of like over her shoulder and she's wearing red, like thigh-high boot heels. And you can just see her little butt cheeks outlined. I had that.
She's like,
yeah, pretty much. I don't know why I have it. I saved it. I was like, I like this.
I love that.
Saved. But yeah, no thank you from getting radiation poisoning from a demon ghost,
That's
whatever the hell that
freaky.
is. Yeah, no thank you.
Hell no, and that was in Texas.
Yeah. Our next story is 5150. 5150, that's the California code we use for someone having a psychotic episode. Maybe drug-induced, maybe something deeper. Sometimes it's a textbook case, sometimes it's something different. I was a few months into this job when dispatch sent me out on a 5150 in a rundown neighborhood at the edge of town. I remember the call details being thin. Woman said her son was acting out, maybe on something, maybe just losing it. I've seen enough to know it could go either way, and either one could be dangerous. When I pulled up, the house looked like any other on the block, sun-faded paint, yard full of weeds, chain-link fence rusting at the hinges. The woman who answered the door was probably in her 50s. She looked like she hadn't slept in days, her face was drawn, and she was wringing her hands in her shirt like she was trying to pull it apart. She told me her son was 20 and there was something wrong with him tonight. Said he wouldn't go into his room because, quote unquote, an old man was hanging in there. She said that was all he would say, just that line over and over, and she was too afraid to go in and look. Not because of the ghost, she clarified, but because of him. Said he'd brought around addicts before, and that when he was high, he got unpredictable. That she loved him, but she was scared of him sometimes. Honestly, I felt for her. She looked like someone who'd been fighting this battle alone for years and was still holding the line. I told her I'd go talk to him. The kid was in the living room, sitting on the edge of the couch, staring past me like I wasn't even there. His pupils were blown wide, and sweat dripped down his forehead even though the AC was running. He kept muttering to himself, something about how, quote unquote, he's still in there. I knelt down and asked him if he was okay. It took a few tries to get anything out of him, and finally, in this weird flat tone, he said, he told me not to go in, said he hanged himself in there, said it would upset him if I disturbed him. I asked him who told him that. He blinked slowly, like it took a lot of effort. The spirit. He said it like it was just a fact. Whose spirit? My mom's dad. He was wearing his uniform. He said he hanged himself in my room. I stood there for a second, unsure how to respond. The way he said it was just so calm, like it had already happened and everyone should just know about it. I didn't see a weapon, but something about the whole thing felt off. I radioed for backup, figured it was better to have another body on scene if this turned into a violent psychotic episode. While I waited, I tried again, pushing him gently for more information, hoping I could find a crack in the story that told me this was just a bad trip. But he stuck to it. His grandpa was in there, and no one should go in, or it would make it worse. That's when I heard a thump. It came from down the hall, just one sound. Thump. Like something heavy shifting or falling in the next room. It made the hair on my arm stand up. Backup was still 5 minutes out, so I told the kid to stay where he was, and I made my way to the bedroom. He started pleading, "Don't go in there. Please, you'll make him mad." I opened the door, and nothing. It was just a room, posters on the wall, an unmade bed, the smell of sweat and weed, an ashtray on the dresser full of something that definitely wasn't tobacco, but there was no rope, no old man, and no body. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding and backed out of the room, muttering to myself, probably just a bad trip, maybe something laced. Nothing supernatural, just drugs, stress, and sleep deprivation. Still, I felt a little shaky. I went back downstairs to talk to the mom to reassure her and recommend she get her son checked out. I just started explaining everything when my backup finally arrived. It was an older officer, Sergeant Malloy. He gave me this look as he stepped in, like he had already knew something wasn't right. I started to brief him, but he pulled me aside before I could finish. "What room was it?" he asked, his eyes serious. "The back left," I said. "Kid said his grandfather was in there, hanged himself?" Malloy looked at me hard. "You know I used to patrol this area, right?" "Yeah?" He lowered his voice. "When I was a rookie, I responded to a suicide in this exact house. Back left bedroom. Old man, World War II vet, hanged himself in his uniform. His daughter found him." I blinked. "Are you serious?" He nodded. "She was never the same after that. Word was she had a breakdown a few years later and, well, she didn't make it out either. She still lived in the house when it happened." I felt a cold shiver crawl up my spine. I wanted to laugh, told him maybe he was messing with me, hazing the new guy, but he didn't smile. "Check the reports," he said. "You'll see I'm not joking." We told the mom the son was probably reacting to whatever he'd taken and that she should get him medical help if things got worse. No crime scene, no visible danger, nothing left for us to do. But I couldn't shake it. A few days later, I went back to the archives. Took a while, but I found the report. Suicide by hanging, elderly male, veteran, army dress uniform, same address, same room. I even found a second report. His daughter, same house. That kid didn't know the history. He wasn't even born when it happened, but he saw something. And if I'm being honest with myself, maybe I did too. I've taken dozens of 5150 calls since then, but that one stays with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
I'd be waiting for a call about the kid.
Yeah, that's
you
what
know?
I thought I was going to read, how it said second report about the mom. I was waiting. I thought it was about to say the kid as well.
Yeah.
And especially I would let it go down to a few days later. But I think that's crazy. Like, he probably has heard the story of his grandpa committing suicide in his own home. Like, that's something you would probably know. But it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So this happened over 10 years ago on one of the coldest nights that I can remember. Usually nights like this are quiet, a good night to catch up on reports and keep their heater running in the cruiser. It was about 3 a.m. when dispatch broke the silence. A male caller, frantic and barely able to get his words out. All we could make out at first was screaming, something about his sister trying to cut out his heart.
Damn. Okay.
The dispatcher finally calmed him down enough to get an address, and we were routed to the call. While en route, I patched through to the guy to try and get a better handle on what we were walking into. I've heard all kinds of nonsense over the years. Meth psychosis, hoaxes, even some guy claiming his cat was an alien once. So when the guy whispered, "There's a demon in my sister's body," I nearly rolled my eyes. Which, pause. Have you ever heard where it was like this guy and he did shrooms and his dog told him he needed to call him Doug, and for the rest of forever he called his dog Doug, and his dog like listened to him after that forever?
No.
That's what made me think of my cat's an alien.
I love that.
Goodness gracious. So
listen, if that's what it takes for my dogs to talk to me,
I'm on board.
I'm on with that.
Okay, so I'm going to reread that last sentence so that we're back on path.
Okay.
So when the guy whispered, "There's a demon in my sister's body," I nearly rolled my eyes. "A what?" I asked. "A demon," he repeated. "It's been battling me for days, but it got free from the chains." That made me pause. As he said it, I could hear the banging, sharp and rhythmic, from his end of the line, then scratching, then something else, another voice, low, guttural, and speaking in a language I didn't recognize. The sound made my chest tighten. I couldn't understand the words, but something about the tone made me feel like I shouldn't be hearing it. It sounded like it was coming from right outside the bathroom door. The caller, what?
It's like the freaking, when you watch The Exorcist and you hear that voice and you're just like, ugh. Like, it's just not right.
Yeah.
Like when you hear the real recordings,
Yeah.
from Emily or from Elizabeth, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Like the real one. It makes me so uncomfy.
Even the, that video, and it's the girl and it's pretending to be her mom, and you can hear, and then the scream.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's
TikTok
just something that you feel like you should not be hearing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you get it.
Ugh.
So he said the sound came from the other side of the bathroom door. So the caller had locked himself in the bathroom door, so that's why he knew what was going on there. So he said that she had tried to rip his heart out, and that's why he locked himself in there. But I'm going back to his point of view now. I stayed on the line with him, trying to keep him calm until we got there. When we arrived and forced the door open, what we saw inside still sticks with me. She was standing at the bathroom door, thin, gaunt, pale as a corpse. Her hair was soaked with sweat, and one of her eyes was entirely bloodshot. Her body was torn up with scratches. Her arms were covered in what looked like bite marks and self-inflicted wounds. She wore a torn-up tank top and pajama bottoms, soaked in blood, and on one of her wrists there was a broken chain still attached to a bloody handcuff. The door to the bathroom behind her looked like it had been through a bear attack. Deep gouges in the wood, blood smeared along the edge, and her nails were split and broken. And when she saw us, she screamed. It wasn't human. I've dealt with meth heads, violent schizophrenics, drunk frat boys, and even cartel enforcers, but nothing like this. There were 4 of us, all trained, fit, and experienced, and it still took everything we had to get her restrained. She scratched, bit, thrashed like a wild animal. One of the guys, a big ex-Marine, later admitted it was the only time in his career he'd actually been afraid of a single unarmed person. We got her down and called in the psych hold. She was taken to a ward, and as far as I know, she never left. Word was she never spoke another coherent sentence again. When we finally convinced the brother to come out of the bathroom, he was shaking. He pulled up his shirt to show us what she had done. His chest was torn up, deep, angry scratches all across his sternum. You could tell she had been aiming for his heart. We asked him how long it had been going on. "She's been possessed since Tuesday," he said. "I tried to chain her down, tried to help her, but it got stronger. It started speaking to me at night, in my dreams, and then it got out. No drugs were in his system, no signs of him being high or delusional. He was just scared. A few of us, myself included, filed the usual reports, but I didn't write everything down. Not the voice I heard through the phone, not the cold that hit us when we stepped into the apartment, not how she looked at me while we held her down like something ancient and hungry was staring through her eyes. Some of the guys who were there that night found their way back to the church after that call. One became a regular at a Buddhist temple. Another quit the force within the year. Me, I don't know what it was, but when people talk about evil, I know I've seen its face, and it was wearing a sister's skin."
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like it.
I don't like the whole like sister part of it because we're sisters.
Possession scares the absolute shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like when you hear like a real case like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what is that?
What are you doing, my guy?
What is that?
Yeah, I really don't like that.
At all. That's so scary.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
It just freaks me out, like the possibilities of being possessed.
Yes.
I'm like, is there anything I've done wrong in my life where that can happen to me? Or am I good because of my like faith and like what I believe in? Like, am I okay?
Right.
Or does that make me more susceptible? Like,
yeah.
That's the part that scares me.
Ugh.
Because they say, like, you never have to worry about, like, they don't say you never have to worry about it, but they say, like, the devil is, I don't know if you've heard this saying. It's kind of like I'm going to mess it up a little bit, but they're like, the devil is more prominent at church because those are the people it needs to take.
Mhm.
The devil's not as prominent just like in whatever, out and about certain places.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so terrifying because he wants the people who are strong in their faith.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, does it make you want to be even stronger in your faith, or does it make you
Or
want to
make
be
you
like,
not.
I'm just here?
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, it's scary.
Switzerland.
It's a very weird
Yeah.
thought on which side
Mhm.
you want to be on, because it's like either way, he's coming for you in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing about like possession like that scares me. And that's the other, like the things about like demons, what freaks me out is I'm like, it's not even just something that's going to like, what's scary about it is you think it's going to be like the show, like The Nun, where it's like, and it's coming at you.
No.
It's normally like a slow force, like your life starts falling apart. You start getting into drugs, you start all of these little things. And that's the part that scares me.
Yeah.
Is like
It just
the
takes,
reality of what it does to your
yeah,
life.
the path. Oh my God.
But also that seeing someone that you know something is not
Right. Yeah.
Or when they say like they're speaking in tongues and you're like, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like,
Like what? And it's like a totally different voice.
Yeah.
Like, stop playing around.
That's like the Bobby Mackey's. If you've ever watched The Ghost Adventures, like one of their very first episode, when it's at Bobby Mackey's and the exorcism videos of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Those freak me out to the core.
Yeah. One of them
I
came across my TikTok the other day and I said, nope.
I
swipe.
can't. No, I usually do too. Like, I can't.
No, I don't like it.
That the sounds, I can't.
Yeah.
I literally can't do it.
No. I said it before in the beginning of this podcast. I will very, very, very rarely cover demonic stuff because it freaks me out so bad that I don't like it.
Well,
I can't really handle it that well.
I do want to cover the case that the one girl, what's her name? Elizabeth something? I can't remember.
I don't know.
The one like documented.
Emily Rose?
That's the movie.
Oh, I don't know
her real name is something else, but there's like recordings of like the sounds and stuff, and I'm like, obviously we wouldn't play that, but
yeah, no, I can't handle that.
it's like a real documented like thing, and she died from it.
Yeah. No, there's another podcast I listened to and they covered like a whole family's possession, and then she said that day when she went home to take a nap, her like dresser drawer opened and like things like that, and I was like, no. No, but she does live in like, she lives literally in Massachusetts, like by Salem, and like one of the old Victorian homes.
So she's probably just haunted anyway.
Yeah, but I'm like, and she messes around with a lot more stuff than we're willing to mess around with. Like she has like the pendulums and kind of is more willing. I'm not that willing. That scares the shit out of me.
No.
And like she's played with a Ouija board, like they're just braver. I'm not that brave, and I will never be that brave.
Never.
So
literally never.
sorry. I won't even use the one that's like an app. Like,
hell no.
They said there's a AI generated Ouija board, and I won't even use that because it's too much for me. I don't like it.
No. Scary.
I'll read like tarot cards, but that's because I'm not going to put that much into them. Like that much
energy.
force into them. So
it's scary stuff.
yeah, I'm about to get to drive home at 10:30 at night. Yay.
It's so fun when we record night episodes. We haven't done that in a while.
No, I actually kind of like the pookiness of it all.
Pookiness.
It definitely adds like, as we're recording, like the
a little
extra
bit of a
like
spook
urge.
factor. Yeah.
Thankfully, I still have a husband and child at home. So
God bless.
what am I going to do whenever there's no child in my house to protect me? But yeah,
You have your dogs. You have your weens.
my wiener, my wiener that barks at everything, everything.
Love her.
She's going to make me even more scared.
Where'd you put your little wiener dog that I got you?
On my kitchen counter.
Isn't she so cute?
Yes.
So I saw that and I was like, oh my God, I have to buy this for her. It's so adorable.
I have to buy this.
They had a bit like, there was like a big one that looked like Weena. And I almost bought it, but I was like, no, because it didn't already have a plant in it.
It's immediately on my kitchen counter.
Oh, it's so cute.
It's so cute.
I love her.
And then Shae bought me a tea rag that literally says, my sister has the best sister.
I know. It was so, we were looking at all of them. They were like hanging up on the wall and there were some really good ones. And I was like, oh my God, these are so funny. Like, I love these. And I was going to get you one of those. And then I turned around and that one was just like laying on the on the display. And I didn't see it at first. And I turned around and I looked at it and I said, yep,
that's it.
that's the one.
Yeah, no, I laughed at both y'all's gifts because I opened your mom's first and it was the jacket that I had worn the whole time. So like when we went on our girls trip, her mom had this beautiful red jacket and she was like, I'll find it and I'll buy you one. And like I had actually looked on like the app by myself because I was going to buy myself the jacket as well. But I couldn't find the right brand. Like I couldn't find the exact jacket. And so I gave up. And so when I opened the bag, I started laughing. And then I started laughing when I saw the towel. And then my little weena, because I saw the towel first.
Mm-hmm.
She got me a little weenie dog. It's not a vase. It's just like a plant holder.
Yeah, it's got a little succulent in it.
It's so cute.
It's so cute. My mom was like, she can't kill it. Just a succulent.
It's just a succulent. It's actually between 2 sets of flowers because Janie brought me flowers for my birthday and then Mantha sent me home with flowers.
Cute.
So I have some plant. They're going to die. They're flowers in a vase. They don't live.
Oh, yeah. Those will die.
Yeah.
The succulent will live.
Yeah. And I don't open any. Well, I'm better about it during the summer. I like open my blinds, but there's a good portion of the year where my blinds are closed and my house is dark, so nothing can survive.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But yeah, so if you have any creepy stories or if you're a police officer or maybe a first responder, since Shae's going to do a first responder or like a hospital episode, if you have any creepy stories you'd like to send that's happened to you on the job of ghost encounters or, dare I say it, skinwalkers or anything spooky like that, don't hesitate to send it to
Call
Sisters.
now. Yeah. 1-800. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. We need a hotline. But send it to Sisters of the Strange podcast at gmail.com. It'll be somewhere around Shae's hand, maybe in this area. Down here normally.
Thank you, Vanna.
Vanna White. And then go follow our socials, all the things, but totally send us stories.
Please, please, please send me stories. First responder stories. I'm excited to do that.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
I'm excited to do that one. That's always going to be a good one.
Yeah. But I think that is all.
That's it.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Sisters of the